एकं अक्षरं हृदि निरन्तरं भासते स्वयं लिख्यते कथम्। हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् यहमहमिति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति। हृदि विषमनसा चिन्वता मज्जता चलनरोधा आत्मनिष्ठो देहं मृण्मयवत् जडात्मकम् अहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नाहं तत्तभावशुद्धिसमये सद्भात्मसद्भातः। भावयुतः कुतोरधिया दृष्टात्मनिष्ठात्मना सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः विभाति स्वयं। सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं। In this the Thursday Satsangh from Ramanacentre Center for Learning. As usual, we will be reading from the work Guru Vachaka Kovai by Muruganatha Swamigal. We will be reading 2 verses selected for us. Each verse reading will be followed by a short meditation on its meaning, and that will be followed by a self-inquiry practice for 10 minutes. After these 2 segments of reading, meditation on meaning, and practice are completed, there will be a summing up by our President, Dr. Shanaka. And that will be followed by an offering of the chanting of Sri Ramananjali by Vaidhoji and Prapnama, and Sri Manjunath will be offering the flowers and harati from Palakuttu here. With Bhagavan's immense grace, we start this evening satsang. by taking up verse number 353. This is from the segment Investigation into Truth, which is the first segment immediately following the introductory verses. The first segment is Investigation into Truth, that's followed by Meditation on the Truth, and that is followed by Anubhava. So 353 we find it, Investigation into Truth. Those who have poured their minds, as a food offering to Shivam into the surging and radiant sacrificial fire, which is the discipline of true knowledge, Mai Jnana Tavam, will truly become Shiva Swarupa. Those who have poured their minds as a food offering into Shivam, into the surging and radiant sacrificial fire, which is the discipline of true knowledge, Jnana Tavam, they will truly become Shiva Swarupa. Having reached this conclusion, the proper course is to worship courageously in this way and merge with the formless Shivam. Those who have poured their minds as a food offering to Shivam into the surging and radiant sacrificial fire, which is the discipline of true knowledge, Mai Jnana Tattvam is the fire here. Into that Mai Jnana Tattvam, when the mind is offered as food, they will truly become Shiva Swarupa. They are no more jivas, they are absorbed into the Shiva Swarupam and are in salujem with Shiva Swarupam. Having reached this conclusion, now we have read, understood, and reached this conclusion with the Upadesham of Bhagavan. Having reached this conclusion, the proper course is to worship courageously in this way of offering the mind as food and merge with the formless Shiva. Now, the first thing is those who have poured their minds. What about the senses? Bhagavan says that Ulagaim Pulangal Uruveran Ravvaim Pulanaim Purikku Pulana Ulagai Manam Undru Aim Pulanvayal Orndiduvadal Manatte Andri Undo Ulaham. Which is in Ulladinarpadu. Bhagavan says that the world is known by the five senses. But the five senses are functioning and know their stuff only through the one power of the mind. Therefore, all this world known through the senses and the senses themselves cannot be anything other than mind. So, when mind is offered, the Indriyas and the Indriya Jagat are also offered together with that. Those who have poured their minds as a food offering into Shivam, into that Jnana Agni, the Homa is going on, and the Purnahuti, the final offering of everything, especially food. Here it is of Manas. Whenever a thought arises, one should not allow that thought to escape like that. Because along with that, the ego also will run away. But one should carefully and diligently inquire, for whom is this thought? The answer will come, this thought is for me, the root of the mind. Because the I thought is the root of the mind. And who am I? Offers that I thought as food to the Jnanagni, the Aham, and with it all the thoughts, and with it the senses, and with it the sensory world are all offered to the Shivam, the main Jnanattavam. As each thought arises, whether it is of senses or whether it is of intellect or whether it is of breath or whether it is of ignorance or whether it is of mind, it doesn't matter. One should offer it to the Shivam inside by asking, for whom is this thought? Who am I? Then what happens when such a Jnanagni is offered these thoughts, this manas, as the food? Then the practitioner, the I which started this practice, verily becomes Shiva Swarupam, says Bhagavan through Muruganar Swamigal. The practitioner becomes Shiva Swarupam. In the beginning of Aksharamana Malai, Muruganar Swamigal writes, Karuna Runamani Kirana Valinihar Taruvaksharamana Magal Malai Terulnadiya Tiru Adiyar Terumaral Teliyap Paravudal Purulaga Karuna Karamuni Ramanariyanuva Kainan Suliyad Gatiyaga Arunachalamana Ahame Arivodum Alva Shivanula Alvare. Who is the one who is going to rule the Shiva world except Shiva Swarupa itself? Bhagavan is saying here that the sadhaka, the greatly troubled jiva, once it takes up this sadhana based on Guru Upadesha, verily, assuredly becomes that spotless, ever blissful, ever present Shiva Swarupa. Having known this, now we have read it, it is in the part of investigation. We have thoroughly done manana over it. This is what is to be done. What really belongs to Shivam is just being offered back again, and the false claim of possessorship and doership and separate existence is bunched together and offered back to the truthful Shiva. Therefore, this practice, having reached this conclusion, the proper course is to worship courageously. What will happen? How will these works go on? When these fears pop up, as did with Ivan Spence when he questions Bhagavan. Bhagavan says, the false ego stops doing the work. Doesn't mean the work will not go on. The Adhara becomes the Purna Swarupa. Without even such a doubt rising, one should unhesitatingly, courageously go for the Shiva Swarupa. There the letting go has to be complete. Even the support of such statements of Bhagavan in the talks should not be held on. They should also be offered back to the Jnanagni because they are also thoughts. That no, the works will go on. For whom is this thought that works will go on? Relentless, courageous should be the sadhaka. The ordainer controls the destiny of people. For whom is this thought that there is an ordainer who controls the destiny of? Go to the ordainer himself directly. Why do you want a statement of that and hold on to it? Courageously let it go and have darshan of the ordainer. Have darshan of Shiva Swarupa by being Shiva Swarupa, by merging in it, in that Sayujya Padavi, which Bhagavan assures is available to all who takes courage in their hand, faith in Guru's words, and start practicing the food offering of Aham and the Manas to that Shiva Swarupam. With Bhagavan's immense grace, let us sit in Atma Vicharam for 10 minutes. Revathi, will set the time for us. Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. More, we go on to the reading of the second verse, verse number 785. This is from the segment Meditation on the Truth. The subsegment is focusing intently on the source. Focusing intently on the source. Verse 785. O heart, do not get deluded by regarding as real, through the rising of the ego, the imaginary objects that appear separate from you. O heart, do not get deluded by regarding as real. Through the rising of the ego, the imaginary objects that appear separate from you. Instead, know and realize your source and subside into the heart through the jnana vichara, who am I? Instead, know and realize your source and subside into the heart through the jnana vichara, who am I? If you do so, you will experience as your own true nature the non-dual consciousness in which everything exists as the self. O heart, do not get deluded by regarding as real, through the rising of the ego, the imaginary objects that appear separate from you. Instead, know and realize your source and subside into the heart through the jnana vichara, who am I? If you do so, you will experience as your own true nature the non-dual consciousness, the supreme, in which everything exists as the self. Here the first heart is in small or the lower case, and the second heart mentioned later, subside into the heart, is in the capital or the upper case. So, O heart, obviously the heart referred to is the sadhaka here. O sadhaka, do not get deluded by regarding as real, through the rising of the ego, the imaginary objects that appear separate from you. So, we have a devotee friend here, just in the opposite home here, Palapattu. His name is Murali. He puts up Bhagavan's quotes in various places in home, especially behind doors. So whenever a door is shut, he will be able to see 3 or 4 quotations. One of the quotations there, Bhagavan is that, whenever you see an object, remember God. Whenever you see an object, remember God. Now, that is what is said as in the opposite direction here, that if you take those objects to be something apart from you and unconnected with you and have separate reality, that is a delusion. Because they all appear after the rising of the false ego as though it is apart from the source. If one imagines that one is apart from the self, then one immediately comes upon many objects which also claim the same right. They all simultaneously claim the right that yes, you may be separate from the self. So are we. Come, try to find out what we are. Try to know what I am. Like that, the other objects seem to claim. But here Muruganar is cautioning us, don't fall into that delusion. Whenever you see an object apart from you, immediately understand that this is a delusory presence because my ego has separated itself from the source. So what is the solution? What is the Aushadam suggested? Is that instead, know and realize your source and subside into the heart through the jnana vichara, who am I? Do not get deluded with the objects, try to grasp them. In a few minutes, few hours or few days, time will take that grasp away. Instead of such delusion, what should one do? One should seek one's source. From where am I arising? Instead, know and realize your source and subside into the heart through the jnana vichara, who am I? Catch hold of who am I and go and subside into the source. In Arunachala Ashtakam, Bhagavan says, Manigalil Saradana Uyirgurum Nana Madantaru Uruvanai Maruvine Nidan. Within each jiva, O Arunachala, you are present as I am. So whenever an object arises separate from us, it doesn't have separate reality apart from the I am or Arunachala present within the object, present within the act of perception and present within the perceiver. The Arunachala, the thread, the reality is present in all the three. He is present as one. Seek him and find him inside and merge in that immanent Arunachala. What will happen when we merge into that I am? When the ego merges into the self, then if you do so, you will experience as your own true nature the non-dual consciousness. If we do not claim this false right that I am separate from my source, immediately the non-dual consciousness rises and shines as I. Ahaminashabaji, aham taya, spurati hrut swayam, parama purna sat. When that inquiry is made and the I is taken to the source again and again, the I gets destroyed. The separate feeling that I am apart from others, I am apart from Arunachala, that vanishes. Ahaminashabaji. When the separate I gets destroyed by submerging into the source, aham taya spurati hrit swayam parama purna sat. Soham spurti taya Arunachala shiva purno vibhati swayam. When the ego's separate existence is destroyed, Arunachala rises and shines as the self. How? Has everything. There simultaneously, without hankering after one object after another in trillions of ways, in one simple act, all the objects are merged into Arunachala and oneself merges into him. Therefore, the self is everything there. The anubhava is that if you do so, you will experience as your own true nature the non-dual consciousness, that consciousness where there is no two. Aham, 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 aham. It is akandam, it is unbroken. Unlike the subject-object perception division, which is broken up, unlike the thinking and thought division, which happens in the unbroken perception of the self, then there is the non-dual consciousness For a moment, let us meditate on the subject-object relationship as thinker, thought, and thinking. Similar to the I am separate from the source, I perceive that object, I want that object. Similarly, in the mind, what happens? The thinker rises separate from the source. With the act of thinking comes up thought. They all appear separate from each other, but the connecting thread is I am. Arunachala is present within the thought. Arunachala is present within the act of thinking. Arunachala is present in the thinker. Bhagavan says, find Arunachala in the thinker. And in that single act, you will see Arunachala everywhere. How to see the self everywhere? Be the self inside. Hold the immanent self. Its transcendence will be revealed by itself. You don't need to know everything separately and then imagine self in them. Just by abiding in the self within, the Purna nature of the self will reveal that everything has been simultaneously absorbed in the self. There is nothing more to achieve or do. Krityamastikim swastitim yataha. When nothing is outside that self, what is left for us to do? Krityamastikim. What karma is left? What knowledge is left apart from the self? Tannai arindidil, pinnai yadarigalyen. Tannai aridalindri, pinnai yadarigalyen. Tannai arindidil, pin ennai uladariya. Without knowing the self, what is the use of knowing one object after another? And once you know the self, what is left for you to know? What is left for you to seek is the mentioned by Bhagavan in the Atma Vidya Sankirtanam. Adhering to this great Upadeshan of Bhagavan, let us merge that separate feeling, the rise of the I, back into its source. By not following the thought that has arisen. Arunachala is in that thought. Arunachala is in the act of thinking. But Arunachala has to be found, the self has to be found within the thinker. So let go of thought, turn the attention of thinking back onto the thinker by asking, who am I? With repeated practice, the separate feeling gets destroyed and the self rises and shines as our real nature. There is nothing left to achieve or do or know, as that reality, the self, is everything. With Bhagavan's immense grace, let us gently and steadily, with faith in Bhagavan, practice Atma Vicharan, not be in a hurry. The Brahmastram is already here. With clarity of understanding, with gentleness and confidence, as each thought arises, let us let it go, inquire for whom is this thought, and take the I thought back to its source. Let us sit in practice for 10 minutes. Revathi, you'll set the time for us. Bhagavate Shri Ramana. Namo Ramana. I request our President, Dr. Sharaka, to give us a summary of notes. Namo Ramana.
Namo Ramana. Prostrations to Ramana, shining is the self in all beings. Today's verse given to us by Bhagavan reminded me first of especially because of the emphasis given by Nandakumarji on the need for courage. It reminded me of the Vedic statement, Nayamatma balahinena labhyaha. The self is not attained by one who is weak. So there is need for courage. Sadhuam Swami also says, Dhairiyam kollum sadhakarku or kayyil kaniye namo namo. In his Ramana Akshara Malar Malai, he says, Dhairiyam kollum sadhakarkur kayyir kaniye namo namo. So one has to have courage, and that is what Bhagavan shows in his life. When he inquired into the meaning of death, he showed us an act of absolute courage, total courage, even to inquire into death. But Muruganar Swami says that there is the support which we have. The support is Bhagavan himself. And so he says in his Ramana Tiruvampavai, he says, Yanodu than ennum iruvorum andrikke naan ennum sarporulai nadi. So he says this sacrifice or this offering happened through the enquiry for the true import of I. Who did this enquiry? He says, I and the Supreme together. And when this enquiry happened, then uyir kettu, the body got lost, as Nandakumarji was saying, the body got consumed, uyir kettu, the prana got consumed, unarvu kettu, all the senses got consumed, or the mind got consumed, yen ullamum poi, the intellect got consumed, naan kettaduvai nadunindra meññana Van kadavulaha varangudalai yar arivar. Finally, what remains is that supreme self. And who is there to know it? Again, Nandakumarji said, Kandavan endrida karutezhavillai. There is no thought that I have seen. There is the thought that I have not seen, says Bhagavan in Ashtakam. And he clearly tells us there in Ashtakam, in the 4th verse, Irundolir unnai viduthu aduthiral deivam. If I leave you, if somebody leaves you, Arunachala, and looks for God, what happens? It is like somebody searching for darkness, says Bhagavan. Somebody searching for darkness. Why would we search for darkness? Obviously not willingly. But all the time Bhagavan is telling that when we move away from the self and towards an object, when we try to hold the object as separate from the self, then Bhagavan says it is like searching for darkness. We are trying to hold the darkness. But then the beautiful part which Bhagavan adds is, Iruttinai vilakkeduthu aduthidale kaan. He says it's like searching for darkness, holding a light. So, because the light of the self never goes away anywhere, it is always there. So Bhagavan says, all we have to do is turn back to that again and again in the knowledge that Bhagavan is with us. What if we do not have courage? What if we are afraid? Is there no hope for us? Would be a question. Here, of course, Bhagavan has said, be courageous. But Bhagavan is so sweet. In Aksharamanamale, he tells us, தீரமில் அகத்தில் தேடி உந்தனையான் திரும்ப உற்றேன் அருள். So in case we do not have the courage, we must at least hold on to the fact, that courage we should have, to hold on to the fact that Bhagavan is there with us. So Bhagavan says, I don't have the courage to go within. I'm not able to push within. I am weak. My mind is weak. It gives up. I'm trying to search within myself, but I'm not able to push my search. I'm giving up. Dhiramil, I do not have the courage. And though I am searching for you within myself, I am returning. I'm coming out. So, you alone should take me within Arul. So we can also tell Bhagavan that, yes, I need to offer myself unto you, but I do not seem to have the courage to do so. I do not seem to have the strength to do so. So, to use Ganapati Muni's words, he says, Bhavasi Pachako Yamavatam Pate. He says, oh Bhagavan, you become the cook for Lord Shiva. And what should you do? Narapashuniman ahami tadayan. Cut off the ego. And Parashiva Udanam Vitanushe Pajan. Cook this ego in an appropriate manner to be consumed by Shiva. So we can tell Bhagavan, you take over. I'm not even capable of offering myself. But then again, while beautifully talking about in the second verse, Nandakumarji was saying, not even that thought. Why give room even to the thought that I am capable or not capable? That thought also can be tackled through self-inquiry. The diligent self-inquiry, one will ask oneself, who is the one who is not capable? Who is the one who is not able to reach Bhagavan? Who is the one who is returning? Who is this I? So we have to keep holding on to the inquiry and letting go of thought willingly, because it's a mere object. We may see the thought as the self. Why does Bhagavan say, do inquiry, ask who am I? Until we are able to experience the self, the non-dual nature of the self, even if we think of the non-dual nature of the self, it would be a thought. That was pointed out to us today by Kumarji, that let us not make even that experience into a thought. Let us not even hold on to any thought whatsoever. And it all has to be offered into the oblation. It has to be an oblation into the fire of knowledge, whereupon the Shiva Shakti will shine of its own accord. And how? Do we need to worry that we have to offer the whole mind, all the senses, everything we have to offer? How to find the whole mind and offer it? It is not possible. So Bhagavan, in his great compassion, he says, offer only one thought. Offer only one thought. Because at one point of time, for every one of us, there's only one thought. Offer it. Now, if another thought arises, offer it. If another thought arises, offer it. Don't think of anything further. Don't think, oh, I'm going to get more thoughts. I'm going on getting thoughts. That is also one thought. I'm going on getting thoughts. Offer that. That's what Bhagavan says. He is very compassionate to us and wants to simplify the task as much as possible, because this alone is worth it. There is nothing else that is worth doing. As we were reminded again today from the Anma Vidya Geetam, that without knowing the self, what else is there to be achieved? Therefore, by Bhagavan's grace, let us keep on holding on to him, Keep on holding on to Him as enquiry and try whatever we can do, and not even allowing the thought that we are trying, or the thought that we are succeeding, or the thought that we are failing to escape our attention and the fire of self-inquiry, but to keep offering it into this beautiful fire of self-inquiry. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramana. May I request Vaibhavji and Prarthana?
Should we start, sir?
Yes, I think you can start. I think they're ready, but some little bit connectivity issue is there. But okay, we can wait for a moment and see whether sir will come.
Okay, Akka.
Because otherwise we can't see the picture. There is apparently puja going to be done today. So Nandakumar sir, can they start the chanting now?
Sir is on mute.
Namo Ramana, Vaibhavji, can start the chant.
Yes, sir. Namo Ramana. भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितं श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनामावलिः अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशे यस्योऽपि मात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं प्रवणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि ॐ महासेन सेन जाताय नमः ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः ॐ गुरवे नमः ॐ अखण्ड संविदाकाराय नमः ॐ मौजसे नमः ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः ॐ जगद्धितावताराय नमः ॐ श्रीभूमिनाथस्थलोत्थिताय नमः ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः ॐ सुन्दरार्यतपःफलाय नमः ॐ कमनीयसुचारित्राय नमः ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः ॐ श्रीमद्द्वादशान्तमहास्थले लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः ॐ परमार्थविदे नमः ॐ तीव्राय नमः ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः ॐ इन्दुमौलिना पितृमते नमः ॐ पितुरादेशतः षोडशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः ॐ तपोमयाय नमः ॐ उदासीनाय नमः ॐ महायोगिने नमः ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः ॐ कुशाग्रदिये नमः ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसंरम्भाय नमः ॐ सुसन्दृशे नमः ॐ सवित्रे नमः ॐ स्थिराय नमः ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः ॐ कुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः ॐ चन्द्रिकासितहासश्रीमण्डितायनमण्डलाय नमः ॐ चूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः ॐ चूडिताखिलविभ्रमाय नमः ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः ॐ त्रिगुणातिगाय नमः ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः ॐ विराजचराकृतये नमः ॐ भूतितनयनाय नमः ॐ पूर्णाय नमः ॐ रसदाचलताण्डवाय नमः ॐ गम्भीराय नमः ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः ॐ दक्षिणस्य निभाय नमः ॐ धीराय नमः ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः ॐ स्वराजे नमः ॐ महर्षये नमः ॐ भगवते नमः ॐ ईड्याय नमः ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः ॐ विमलाय नमः ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः ॐ आप्ताय नमः ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः ॐ समदृशे नमः ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः ॐ सत्याय नमः ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः आनन्दाय नमः ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः ॐ श्रीचूर्णाचलऋद्बोधस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः ॐ गणेशमुनिवृन्देन सेविताङ्गिसरोरुहाय नमः ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्न संशयाय नमः ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः ॐ सौम्याय नमः ॐ आत्मवते नमः ॐ सर्वावनिमतस्थानाम् आराध्याय नमः ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः ॐ महाभागाय नमः ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः ॐ विनताय नमः ॐ विनुताय नमः ॐ विप्राय नमः ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः ॐ दर्शनादगसंहारिणे नमः ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः ॐ ऋचान्तिकरसानिध्याय नमः ॐ स्मरणाद्बन्धमोचकाय नमः ॐ अन्तस्तिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः ॐ संसाराणवतारकाय नमः ॐ शोणादृशस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः ॐ हार्दविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः ॐ कमण्डलुदराय नमः ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसाय नमः ॐ गुहाय नमः ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः ॐ भवरोगविषग्वराय नमः ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः ॐ देवतमाय नमः ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः ॐ सेनान्ये नमः ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः ॐ श्रीरमण भगवते नमः श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनामपूजां समर्पयामि यस्थानो रघुनाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्याजनिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रहसुप्रवाहविवश्च तादात्म्यभावं गतः निर्निष्ठस्वगभीरनित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनासेकराट् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नम इदं लोकोत्तरज्योतिषे ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय।
नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि दर्शन सुख मंगल मुख सकल जीवहित सम्मुख ब्रह्म संगिये सदा तुष्ट सदा हृष्ट सदा शिवानंद पुष्ट परम महर्षि ब्रह्मनिष्ठ समदर्शी नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि ನಮ್ಮ ಮನವದೊಂದು ಕಾಡು ನೀನರಿತಿಹೆ ಅದರ ಜಾಡು ಹಿತವನರಿತು ನೀಡು ತೆಮ್ಮ ಕೊರೆಯ ತಣಿಸಲೈ ಬೇಡಲೆಂದು ಬಂದ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿಯೇ ತಣಿವೆವಯ್ಯ ಮೋಡಿಗಾರನೇ ಹಿತವ ನುಡಿದು ಕೊರೆ ನಮ್ಮನು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸಂಘಿಯೇ ನಮೋ 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 ರಮಣ ಸದಾಶಿವ ಪ್ರಭಾವರಣ ನಮೋ ಮಹರ್ಷಿ ನಮೋ ಮಹರ್ಷಿ ನಮೋ 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 ರಮಣ ಸದಾಶಿವ प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि। बोलो भगवान श्री रमण महर्षि की
जय।